Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we figure out how to build and run a SaaS. I'm Benedikt.
And I'm Brian. Each week we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we work on our products and keep the lights on by basically making it up as we go. Today is May 12th, and I am feeling sleepy.
This is episode number 41, and I'm on a lot of calls today.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Social Cuts. Creating content is a big investment. Unfortunately, the lifespan of this content is short. In fact, it's as short as 18 minutes on Twitter and 5 hours on Facebook. Social Cuts will take your existing videos, podcasts, blog posts, tweets, webinars, and much more and repurpose them into social media dynamite. Check out socialcuts.co/slowandsteady for further details and a 20% discount off your first 3 months.
Nice. That actually sounds interesting. I should look into this.
That sounds pretty compelling.
Yeah, because a lot of times we publish blog posts and stuff, and then we promote them once, and then let them sit there and never go back to them and promote them again and stuff like that. So,
yeah, totally. I'll check that out. Sounds pretty interesting. All right. What do you got going on? What do you got going on this weekend or this week? Got a lot of calls?
Today for some reason a lot of calls, but then again, it's better to have them on one day instead of having them scattered around the week. So today is mostly calls. I don't expect any meaningful product work to get done today. But yeah, that's what today looks like. Yesterday I was in my proper office for the first time in 8 weeks or so. I don't even remember the last time I was there.
Yeah.
But I figured I should probably check the mailbox, see if there's anything important in there. But there wasn't. So I spent the day in the office and then, back in the home office today.
Nice. How was it?
It was interesting in terms of today was really, really shitty weather. Like the last couple of weeks, it was nice and somewhat warm and sun shining. And and yesterday it was freezing cold, raining all the time, and super windy. It was so windy that actually a tree was knocked over in the front of the street, next to my office, and the fire department had to come and cut it down. And so it was quite a happening yesterday in the office. And for some reason today, weather's nice again, so I stayed at home and enjoyed the weather at home.
Do you? I mean, now that it's been, 2 months basically, is there any consideration for you at all to make the home office a little bit more semi-permanent, or are you just itching to get back to the office and you'll always be an office person?
I kind of like my office because it's a little bit bigger. The equipment there is a little bit better. I'm thinking about getting another set of another microphone like this and another boom and maybe a second keyboard and a second mouse, so I don't have to carry those back and forth between the two locations. But I just like being separated from everything else. Like the temptation, it's gotten better with having a dedicated room at home. But there's a lot of there's always a temptation. Hey, I could probably do this, or maybe I should clean the kitchen, or stuff like that. And that's not the case in the proper office where there's basically nothing else to do but work. And also, didn't meet my pal over there yesterday because he's also working from home. But it's a shared office with a friend, so that's also nice.
Also a good thing.
Be around people for a change.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking forward to being able to go there again. But they lifted some restrictions last week, but yesterday's news is the infection rate is above 1 again. So
bring them back in.
We will. Let's see. I mean, there's no official word yet, but maybe we'll have to do this for a little bit longer.
Well, yeah, I've it's worked out a lot better for me working from home since ironically, and I even hesitate to say this out loud because I know that this is not the experience for most people, but since my kids have been home and that we're like
Mhm.
in the middle of and during the day, we're all kind of in the same boat in terms of, all right, everybody find a place that you can work and focus. And we all like shared agreement here. If somebody has headphones on, then you don't bother them. Um,
Mhm.
very ironically, it has been a more work friendly environment because
Mhm.
everybody has a call. Everybody has their headphones on. Everybody's trying to look for a way to focus, and we'll take 20-minute breaks, here and there to do whatever. And again, just to really heavily emphasize this, like my wife does not work outside of the home, and so that is a huge factor in how much effort and how much she keeps things going. Um, and so I've been surprised at how much I'm not missing my co-working space.
Mhm.
For the reasons that you were saying before. Yeah, when you just go in and just get into that rhythm and get into that flow, and that is the space where you work, it just, it triggers your mind, triggers your body to, okay, we're at work now. Um,
Yeah.
and so this is this has been working so far. I think it'll be interesting when, as things shift. The kids are going to be out of school in just a couple of weeks. Maybe 1 week
Mm.
actually. I think crazily enough, I think next week is their last week of school. Yeah. So it could probably shift a bit, but that's yeah, for now, that's the situation. We're making it work.
Yeah, nice. What's going on with you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've, just completely moved on from from thinking that that Mozilla is going to come through. Um and so I mentioned last week, I was like, I just need to build something small and silly.
Mhm.
Just to feel like I'm making something. And so I was kind of tinkering around on like basically a bullet journal, like an online bullet journal, and just I was using Tailwind. I've been wanting to start Tailwind, start a project from scratch using Tailwind, and I was just really liking where it was going. It was fun to work on, all these things, and kind of around the same time of working on that, I was listening to the latest episode or the previous episode of Build Your SaaS, where John and Justin were talking about, copyers and copycatting and all of that. And there was some point in that conversation where I realized these two things are going to connect in just a second, trust me. But where I realized that I've been just so stuck in analysis paralysis on Headlamp and feeling like I can't really build and release something until it's super unique and completely differentiated, because I don't want people to think that I'm just copying Office Vibe. Um, and there was something in their conversation that made me realize, like, it. I'm not going to get to the differentiator until I at least have something to push back on, and like have something that I can hold on to, get some paint on the canvas basically to see which colors are working and where where the balance is off. And so just kind of noodling that over in my head, and then was taking an hour or two to hop back in on this bullet journal project, and was like, this is so much fun. I mean, I should just be working on Headlamp. Um, and so kind of just paused on that thing. It was as if that got me unlocked. And so the past I don't know, several days, just started the foundation for Headlamp from scratch, and have been really diving in on that and feeling completely freed from, I don't know, a fair amount of self-imposed pressure, but also some pressure from like influential folks in our, in our spaces, around like, I don't know, or like how unique and how special does it have to be at version 1? So that's what I've been up to. It's actually felt really, yeah, it's felt pretty inspiring and just like kind of a flurry of development activity. And anyway,
Mhm.
so that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, so that's so true. Like, m- at some point, you realize that making progress is better than finding the perfect solution.
Yep.
Like, moving forward is way more
Yeah.
effective and better than like over analyzing everything and
Mhm.
find like, and maybe even trying to perfectly validate every single thing you
Yes.
do or you
Yeah.
want to do before actually doing something.
Yes.
I mean, I get the idea and it makes sense, but at some point you just have to move forward, or at least in some direction, or maybe discard the idea entirely. But like just sitting there and trying to trying to prove something or find the perfect solution just doesn't cut it. At some point, you just have
Yeah.
to
Just
keep
have
the
to.
momentum up and move forward.
Totally. Yeah. I that's like a principle that I even know about myself that I've kinda, I think I've neglected in this particular project is, inertia for me is huge. Like if I'm
Yeah,
still, then I will stay still for a very long time. But once I
yeah,
get moving and just build up momentum, even if it's, uh yeah, even if it ends up being semi like worthless, just the momentum just gets me into a feeling
yeah.
of like being unstoppable. And so I think I think I've just been overthinking so much of this and not wanting to build the wrong thing, wanting to do it just right,
Mm,
um, because, I've been at this for a little while, and so I should know what to do by now. That's all BS. Like everybody's just making it up as you go. Um, and yeah, like even well, yeah. So that's, I
yeah.
don't really go off too much of a rant there, but um,
Yeah, I've been in exactly that trap. Was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago by now? Like after I kind of decided stage CMS wasn't going anywhere,
mhm,
and I wasn't sure what to do next. I was really hesitant. Like I didn't want to like to spend a lot of time on the wrong thing, and
yeah,
I ended up in the exact same position where you're just sitting there thinking about it. What should I do next? And is this a good idea or maybe not? And what can I do
yeah,
to figure out if it isn't? And at some point you realize you're wasting a lot of time but not making any progress,
yes,
so you could
totally.
as well waste a lot of time on the wrong thing
Yeah,
and it would still be
right.
better because you'd be doing something.
Yeah, you'd be doing something, and you would probably learn some new development trick along the way, or like I would at least be getting
Yeah,
better at at something by building.
you, you'd at least hone some skills, or
Yeah,
I mean, even if you go in the wrong direction with the initial version of Headlamp, then at least there's motion and maybe you
mhm,
get feedback at some point and you
right,
can steer into the right direction, and maybe you discover the unique selling point of this along the way from like customer feedback or something
right.
like that. So, but you have to be moving to be able to do this. So
Yes, totally.
yeah.
I heard this interview, like, I mean, it's like 12 years ago or something, so I can't remember the guy's name, but it was the poet laureate of the United States at the time. And he was talking about how he was like, people think of poetry as kind of the ultimate in, the inspirational muse shows up and you're just like overcome and you just write the perfect poem. He's like, that's just not how it
Mm,
works. It's like
yeah.
every single morning at 6 a.m., I go and sit in this red chair next to a lamp. And it doesn't matter if I feel it or not. I go sit there and I write something. And every now and
Mm,
then, something amazing happens. He's like, but
yeah.
you have to be in the chair at 6 a.m. Um,
Yeah.
and like as I just am feeling that again, like I just gotta. I just got to try to build something and get it out there and be comfortable with criticism and it being imperfect
Yeah.
and it not working, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, good, heaven knows, like we're on episode 41 now of me not having something successful. I should not be worried about launching something that doesn't work. How is that different from literally everything that has come before? So, gosh. Anyway, that's what I've been up to.
Yeah.
That's what I've been up to.
Yeah, nice. I also admire people who are able to just like constantly ship stuff, like
Yeah.
little small side project. Like for example, just Josh Pickford of Barometrics comes
Yeah.
to mind. Like feels like he's always working on something
Constantly.
new, like
Yeah.
constantly. And I think somewhere on the net he has this list of
Yep.
projects he started and that failed and or were successful. And it's just a super long list of stuff he just started and tried, and
Mhm.
some of them worked out and some of them didn't. And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm lacking that skill of being able to just start a lot of stuff, try doing it for a while, and then shut it down if it
Mhm.
doesn't work out, or yeah,
Yeah.
hone in on those that work out. And yeah, I admire people like him who are able to do that.
Mhm. Yeah. What so product wise, over at UserList, any updates? What have you been up to there?
Yeah, we shipped or almost shipped a new condition trigger type. It's up there, it's deployed, it's behind the feature flag, and I have to be honest, I'm a little bit scared to to release it to everyone, because during testing I realized it's an easy way to shoot yourself in the foot.
As
Because
the customer, you mean? Like
yeah,
you
as the
don't, yeah,
customer,
okay,
like
yeah.
all the triggers we have right now are event based, so something has to happen before that trigger actually does something.
Mhm.
Where with this new trigger type, like just the state of things is able to execute something. And that means if you set up a new trigger that starts the campaign for all users and match a certain condition, it will do that right the moment you click save. And if you mess up the condition for some reason,
Mhm.
yeah, that's it. Yes, it's too late. The campaign is started for everyone that matched the condition.
Yeah.
And that makes me a little bit yeah, hesitant to actually roll this out.
Right. Is
I'm not sure.
okay. Is there are you able to, I mean, as the customer, when I create this new condition or create this new campaign that could be triggered by conditions, like when I click save to say, this is about to run for
Mm,
9,400 of your 9,600 users, or is that like a queued job that you do later? Are you able to provide them with that
yeah,
immediate feedback then?
it's a cute job, but I should be able to do something like that. At least like get a sample dish that would run
Mm,
for these 10 users and maybe a couple more or something like that. And I have a feeling that we should build something like that into all of this, and also maybe even have a way to, like, campaigns right now have state, so they can either be paused or active. And editing triggers on a paused campaign is no problem. That nothing happens.
mhm,
But once you start editing triggers on active campaigns that are currently running, then you instantly change everything and they instantly run. And should probably add a new warning in there. And I like the idea of just being very explicit about it. Like the moment you click OK, this will happen. Like we'll start
yeah.
the campaign for this list of users. That's a really good idea. I think we should build something like that. But that wasn't in the initial concept. Like the initial idea was just add it and
And away
make
you
it
go.
behave like everything else. But yeah, I think before we release it to everyone, we should probably do another round of
Yeah.
UI improvements there.
Well, I mean, yeah, especially if, I mean, if what you learned as you were building it was you, I mean, accidentally triggered, so, "Oh, I didn't expect that it would behave in that way." I mean, that changes your
Yeah, yeah,
changes the requirements. So,
definitely. But
yeah.
yeah, that part of the like all the trigger code, the UI code for that is just horrible. And a part of me wants to rip it all out and redo it because it's such a mess. Even while building this one, I broke it again, and there's so many weird edge cases in there. So yeah, I don't know. The feature is somewhat done, but I think there have to be some UI changes before we ship it.
What part of it feels like it's a mess to work with?
It might be. It's probably just related to the way I built it, but the thing is that I'm basically working with objects there, and the objects change type when you change the trigger type, and based on that, I do a lot of like crazy stuff to change the actual object type in the code, and it just like. Yeah, it has some weird side effects. It's even hard to explain. It's just a mess.
What are you using Stimulus or anything for the front end on your Rails app?
Our front end is entirely written in Ember.js.
Oh, that's
so
right.
It's a single page app.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I'm a huge fan of the framework itself, and I think it's mostly the right choice. But then again, some parts, I sometimes start to wonder if maybe I went a bit overkill with all of it. But other parts, I really like, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
What's the state of in-app messaging? How are you feeling about that launch and all of that?
Yeah, the launch is still set for next week. We'll probably send out an email to the mailing list this week, basically prepping everyone for the launch. And then we'll launch it on Product Hunt next Tuesday. So I'm really excited for that. There's still a couple more to-dos in terms of like smallish features I have to add. And I really, with that part as well, I really have to restrain myself from just throwing all away and writing it from scratch again.
now that you know how you would do it.
Yeah, now that I know maybe not how I do it, but like all the problems that the current version has, and I kind of want to build a new version that doesn't have all those problems.
Yeah,
probably has a lot of new ones then, yeah, different ones. Yeah, I mean, it's a week before the public launch. Probably not a wise idea to throw everything away.
Just go for it, man.
And yeah, I think we just launch it and then I'll rework it one other day.
Yeah. It's still super early, but any initial sense of what the $9 starter plan has done? Seeing more take up on that, or still too soon?
I think we get a little bit more trials. So that part is good. I think they are about to convert, like the first trials are about to end of this week. So we'll see. What also happened, and I'm not entirely sure if that's related to the $9 plan or to the Tiny Seed announcement or just, I don't know, general the way things are right now. I don't know. We get a lot of trials of people who sign up and cancel right away. And I'm literally mean right away, because sometimes in Slack we get notifications for all new customers and we get notifications for cancellations. And more often than not, in the last week, we got cancellation notifications before we get the new customer notifications. So people must go in there, like enter all their details, payment details, and then the first thing they are doing is look for the cancellation button and click that. And I'm not sure what that means. Like,
well, do you require billing information during the sign-up process?
Yeah, we require a credit card up front because it makes like the entire process of then migrating into the paid account a lot easier, because otherwise we'd have to ask them for their credit card then, and if they already have campaigns, do we stop them? It's like there are a lot of open questions that we didn't find good answers to. So it's still credit card up front. And sure, I mean, yes, if you just want to go in there to see the inside and never plan to use it, sure, you go in, cancel, and then look around. But we had one customer, I think it was last week, who did the same thing, like signed up, canceled right away, then started using it, apparently started to like it, started sending all his user data in there, set up campaigns, and then one day we get an email, hey, my account is gone. What happened?
And you clicked
we're like, yeah,
within 1 minute.
You signed up and canceled right away, and we canceled your account as requested.
Yeah.
So
it must be.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of it.
It's got to be just people kicking the tires and not trusting themselves to remember to cancel the account. But on the 13th day of the trial, they just go ahead and cancel it right away.
Yeah,
and keep looking around.
I mean, it kind of makes sense in that regard, but that didn't happen before. Like that only started now, and like I can see that the what's the logical explanation there? Does the $9 plan change anything? Like you were not planning to pay anything in the first place, so does the $9 versus $49 make a difference there? Why would it start now? Or is it just like because they're checking out companies that are in the new Tiny Seed batch?
Feels a little bit more like it's got to coincide with the Tiny Seed announcement.
Yeah.
The same way that, you launch on Product Hunt, like 5%, 10% of those people are, actual customers. The majority of them are tire kickers.
Yeah.
You get a lot of...
Yeah, you're probably right. It's maybe more related to that.
Yeah. Well,
anyways, interesting to watch.
Yeah. Maybe you can.
And then fingers crossed that people will actually convert this week and then upgrade eventually.
Yeah. We can send an email to people who cancel their account within 1 hour of sign up. Just like, who are you? And like, no hard feelings. But why'd you do that? We're just trying to figure out where you came from and what you're...
what made you sign up in the first place?
Man.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Anything? I don't think I've got anything. Else.
No. Me neither. I think that's about it for this week.
Yeah, well, other than just to say, it seems like Boulder, Colorado, and Darmstadt had completely synchronous weather activity, because we have had beautiful weather for weeks, and then the past few days have been miserable, like cold and rainy out of nowhere. And so I think we've got another one of those lined up for us, itching to... already feeling the need to get outside, but anyway, see what the day holds. But anyway, man, that's all I've got. Good catching up as always.
It was. Talk to you next week.
Cool. Later, man.